missing food, clothes.
Are you
whatever
okay,
people have
doctor?
to bring.
Yeah. It's just, you think of the people that were hurt. Yesterday we got a man who went into Lahaina and found his son and his dog dead, 15-year-old.
That's the story I told you when we were giving him food.
And that's the man that just, I can't believe his eyes. And he just came up here and he wanted food. And I rallied around him and everybody came together and hugged him. And we gave him so much food and so many things. We were holding off on giving some stoves out just to keep it here so we can cook for everybody.
Yeah.
But we gave that up because we felt that like that would make it better. I don't know. It was so sad. It's so sad for him.
Unfortunately, I have heard so many stories just like the one that you all just got done listening to. Unfortunately, I have heard so many stories from people down in Maui who lost their significant others, who lost their pets, who lost their children, who lost their other family members, who lost neighbors. Yet when you turn to the officials down in Maui and you ask them basic questions, their answers are idiotic and laughable at best. Hey, how many people died in this fire? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Hey, I see that there were originally 3,000 missing people. Now you claim there's only 66. How did you come to this conclusion? Where did you find all of these people? Good question. Well, you know the thing. You know how these things go. Yeah, that's how we got. You know how we got these numbers, right? Yeah, the thing. Yeah. How many people have you been able to identify? Are you able to identify these remains? Not really. No. Not at all. Where are all of these missing kids? End of press conference. How dare you ask me that question? We're done here. That's basically what has been going on in a nutshell. It's like every day I'm hearing more stories about how this person lost a loved one, how this person lost a family member, how this person lost a friend, how this person knows a neighbor that died in the fire, yet the missing persons list keeps getting smaller and the death toll isn't getting any higher, and there's no acknowledgement about any of this from any of the officials in the area. And honestly, I'm starting to feel as if that they feel as if they answer these questions or if they acknowledge any of this stuff at all, it makes it real, right? Some of you all will understand what I'm saying, some of you all won't. But we know that this is real. But if they never answer these questions, if they blow it off, if they don't acknowledge this stuff, then there's a certain level of deniability that's there. Like, you validate these stories, you add credibility to the rumors and the information that's floating out there by addressing the situation, by simply answering one of these questions, by being transparent about the numbers. So if you pretend to not know the numbers, and if you refuse to answer questions about the missing kids, you know, in the future, you just have that certain level of deniability that you ain't got nothing to do with it. It ain't got nothing to do with me. I never acknowledged that. I never said anything about that at all. So I feel as if, that they feel as if, that this would all just go away. And that if they answer one question about it, if they're transparent about it at all, if they even acknowledge it, that it makes it more real. Regardless if it's real or not, and we know it's real, it makes it more real. It's not real to them until they acknowledge that it's real. Because we can sit here online and expose stuff all day. 9 times out of 10, nothing's going to be done about it unless the public, you know, becomes more aware and maybe they get outraged about the situation. But the moment it becomes really real is the moment that they acknowledge it. So it doesn't matter if we're dealing with facts. It doesn't matter, how real this situation is. The sad reality of our world is that this stuff doesn't become really real until they acknowledge it. Once they acknowledge it, then it solidifies it. It validates everything that everyone's been saying. And then they're more likely to be held accountable. And then, there will be a bigger push to find answers and things of that nature. So, in my opinion, the reason why they're dodging certain questions and they're just ignoring certain details and they're not putting out the real numbers is because the moment they do, the realer this situation becomes. It's already a real situation, but in the eyes of some people, in the eyes of maybe you could say the general public who aren't as aware about a lot of the shady stuff that goes on surrounding situations like this, I just feel as if that's one of the reasons why they're dodging all of this stuff. Like if you got a reporter ask you, where's all these missing kids? And you say, well, we blah, 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 then you make the situation more real. You validate everyone's concerns. And that's what they don't want. They want to pretend as if all of this is make-believe and imaginary. And at the end of the day, in many occasions, people will look at you like you're crazy for asking certain questions. And they look at you like you're crazy because they're gaslit by the media and by the lack of responses. Some people still view these figures and these officials, in a certain light that the majority of us no longer view these people in. So yeah, I think that's the problem with a lot of what we're seeing right now. But anyways, before I go off on a whole entire rant about that, because I will, let's go ahead and roll this clip and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
Today, Mahia.
Kiahi, this man from Lahaina says he knew the roads like the back of his hand, and he went in and out of Front Street many times with at least 4 truckloads of people. He dropped people off out of the danger zone, and then he went back inside. The Lahaina firestorm was coming from both ends of Front Street. Lahaina resident Kekoa Lansford says it was so smoky, the day looked like night.
I seen a woman, and she was, pretty burnt up. Not to the point where she would die, but pretty bad. And I gave her a ride, and then something just told me turn around, go back, grab another one. They was in a lot of pain. Some of them I grab them, and then I feel bad for them. Like I grab them, and they scream. I do remember that everybody lost their slippers. I'll tell you that. And the ground was super hot. So, and I was in slippers myself, and it was hot from my feet. I saw dead bodies, smoke. Burnt people hiding from the fire that were dead.
There was a group of people hiding behind a dumpster. It was their only method to try to hide from the fire. And they died. All together. Is that what you saw?
Yes. That was pretty much what it was. The worst part is the kids.
You saw children who perished?
No.
You know what I find really strange? Even that guy in the clip, he mentioned that he saw multiple kids who didn't make it in this fire, right? He witnessed that with his own 2 eyes. Early on after this fire, it was being reported that hundreds of kids must have perished in these flames. Hundreds. The governor even acknowledged this on multiple occasions, although now it's as if there was never any talks about that at all. But that was acknowledged early on. I have the receipts, all of that good stuff. So at first we were looking at these numbers like, hundreds of kids didn't make it out this fire. Here in this clip, you see a guy who said he saw multiple kids who didn't make it out this fire. The public school system in the area, almost 2,000 kids remain missing from the public school system. So there's obviously something going on here. But a month out from this fire, and to be clear, it's over a month now, only one child has been identified They've only identified one child that didn't make it out of this fire. But that's really strange to me. Because here in this clip, this guy said he saw multiple kids who didn't make it out. Right? Early on, everyone in the area was like hundreds of kids had to die. Hundreds. Because the kids were out of school, parents were at work. So that was all the talk. That's what got a lot of people interested in this story. One of the main reasons why I'm still here pushing this story, talking about this story today, while all of these other big news stories are happening, I'm still focusing my attention on Maui, is because of the kids. Because, let me put it to you like this. Big conspiracy to the side. Even if there's not celebrities taking kids in underground tunnels and all of that stuff that's floating online, there's still a big possibility that something may have happened to some of these kids along the way. And even if something only happened to one kid, that's one too many, right? Could there be a possibility that there's families out here who think their kids died in this fire when in reality some creepo or some weirdo snatched them up during all of the commotion? You know, that's a golden opportunity. Everyone's going crazy. No one's worried about what you got going on. There's already people running around screaming. Kids are by themselves, probably not knowing what's going on, looking for help, trying to escape the flames. I guarantee you, I don't want to guarantee you, but there's a possibility that all the conspiracy stuff to the side, that there could have been creepos, weirdos in the area that took advantage of this situation. There could be families out there right now who think their kids perished in the flames, but in reality, they got snatched up by some weirdo from down the street who has them Lord knows where by now. So that's why it's important to, regardless if you think this is some type of conspiracy on a large scale, it's important to really question what's happening here. Because at the very least, even if you don't want to use the words missing or whatever, there's a lot of kids misplaced here, right? We can all agree upon that. There has to be. So they go from saying hundreds of kids didn't make it. We got almost 2,000 kids missing from the public school system in the area. Only one child identified. Yet multiple witnesses, multiple people who survived these fires say that they saw kids with their own two eyes that didn't make it. So the numbers are kind of weird. It's not adding up. And like I said, even if we're not looking at something like what people are putting out there online, you know, I'm not here to tell you that this was something that happened on a mass scale. I'm not here to tell you that it's not something that happened on a mass scale. I'm just being realistic about the situation. Big conspiracy to the side. If you have all of these kids at home struggling to survive in the middle of this fire, there's a possibility that there's some kids here that something horrible could have happened to. And then there could be bad families who are taking advantage of this situation. Oh, well, the fire happened. I could use this as an excuse not to take my kid to school anymore. I could lock him up in his bedroom for the next 10 years and do whatever. You know what I mean? Things like that happen. So I do believe that we need to have a conversation. And by we, I don't mean just us on YouTube. The officials in the area should be talking about this. There should be a concern about what's going on with these kids. A lot of these kids probably don't even have the best living situations. Some of them maybe don't have good parents. Maybe school was their only outlet, their only escape, and now they don't have that. There's so many factors here. There's so many things that could have been happening here. There's so many questions that need to be asked. And, you know, like I said, you could take the big conspiracy and put it to the side, and there's still so many things that could have happened. And the fact that no one wants to answer questions and everyone's shying away from the topic really makes you feel weird. It really makes you feel like there's something more going on here. Because why wouldn't everyone want to address this? This should be the main thing that we're all tackling. We should not be over a month out from this fire still asking and concerned about what happened to all of these kids. It makes no sense. So the lack of transparency, the fact that they shut down press conferences when you ask questions about the kids, it's just making it look like something really weird happened here. And people are going to continue to feel that way because they have every opportunity. These officials have every opportunity to clear things up, but they won't. They won't even acknowledge it. And I don't know if that's because, like I was saying earlier, if they acknowledge it or if they answer questions about it, it makes it more real, or if there's something that they're hiding. I don't know. But at the end of the day, like I was saying, big conspiracy to the side, there's a lot of kids here that who knows what happened to them and who knows what's going on with them. And that's concerning to me. And I think it should be concerning to everyone. Let me know your thoughts though down below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell. And I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.